How does it feel to have a dream slip away from you? Horrible, actually. Pretty horrible. Arsenal beaten 4-1 at Manchester City tonight. Bad result, bad performance, outclassed. A footballing lesson from the best team in the country, who, by all rights, should win this Premier League. And it was quite a humbling experience for Arsenal. They showed themselves to be the better team, as they have done on 3 occasions this season, twice in the league, once in the cup. You know, in the first half of the season, it felt like it would take something extraordinary to stop City winning the league, be that an extraordinary performance from another team or extraordinary incompetence on their part. For a long time, it looked like Arsenal were performing at that extraordinary level. It slipped a bit recently, and unfortunately, City have been much more competent. I think the manner in which Pep Guardiola has turned their season round, because we're so fixated on Arsenal, that's probably not something we've looked at or discussed enough. He has shown himself to be a top manager. He's working with some pretty decent tools, though. I'm going to say something that drives me mad. It drives me mad when commentators go, "Oh, Akanji, he's good, isn't he? And he didn't cost very much money, Akanji. Isn't that clever?" And it's like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one player they've got that didn't cost a ton of money. I think he is the exception that proves the rule at Manchester City. Really drives me mad when they bring that up as if, like, you know, they're doing this on a shoestring, guys. It's incredible. About the game itself, I don't really know what to say. We were hugely outclassed. I think there is a psychological barrier with City, but it's not just psychological, it's technical, it's physical, it's all these other things. They are better than us. On their day, they are much better than us. They keep beating us, if you weren't sure about that. They keep doing it. And I wonder how much these huge fixtures against City have weighed on the players in the build-up to them. If you look at our fixtures this season, so when we lost 3-1 City back in February, we actually didn't win the 3 games before that. City in the Cup, and then Everton and Brentford drew at home. Okay, we were robbed, but 3 games without a win before City. Again, the 3 games before this City game. Draw at Liverpool, draw at West Ham, draw at home to Southampton. Being in this dogfight with such a daunting rival, I think has emburdened this team. And I think we might see Arsenal back to their best after this game. I know it sounds odd because they've not been playing well. They're certainly not defending well. The results haven't been brilliant. But I think they'll feel so much better for having this out of the way. And maybe for it not being in their hands anymore. They've got to pick the pieces up. They've got to finish the season on a high. It's what they deserve. And they need to keep the pressure on. You never know in football, although City look imperious at this point in time. It's tough, though. It's tough for us, and I think a lot of fans will be hurting tonight. I've spoken in the past about how I'm a fan of pro wrestling, quite casually, but I like it. I enjoy it when I watch it, and people make fun of that. But the brilliant thing about that is the story always has the right ending, 9 times out of 10, because it's controlled, it's scripted. You tell a brilliant narrative of a guy going for a title. Invariably, if it's the right ending to the story, that's what we see. And yeah, it doesn't have the same value as when it's a true sporting occasion, but it's at least satisfying and gratifying and sort of narratively ties up, because this season has been so extraordinary, and the right ending to this story is Arsenal winning the league. That's how it feels to me, and it will feel the same to you. Probably not to Man City fans, but to everyone else. certainly to us, that feels like the right ending. And it doesn't feel like we're going to get it. And that's so gutting, gutting, because we've told a beautiful story across the course of this season. And it's not going to have the denouement we all hoped for, it seems. It's still all there, but, it's in their hands now. And that grip looks pretty tight. What to say about the game itself? We really, really were disappointing. Offered almost no threat. It was 4-1 in the end. That's about right. It could have been worse. There were a number of saves. Thought the one positive we might take from the game is that Aaron Ramsdale had won his duel with Erling Haaland, made a number of good saves from him, and then Haaland scores in stoppage time to make it 4-1. I was struck by the subs. I thought Arsenal's subs did well, but still, if you look at the two benches, they had Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez, Alvarez come on. We're bringing on the likes of Jorginho, Nelson, and Nketiah, Smith and Trossard, maybe a slightly higher calibre of player, but it shows you we've got a way to go. We didn't deal with the threat of City. In the first game, we dominated possession, but they hit us on the break. They were direct. They used Haaland as an outlet, and they did it again tonight. And that was kind of how the first 20 minutes played out. Arsenal had all the ball. When City got it, they looked into Haaland, and he won his battles. He won his duels time after time. He's a monster, that guy, and we couldn't live with him. Would we have lived with William Saliba? Who knows? It still would have been difficult. Hard to talk about individuals. Very few people left with any credit. I think there's going to be a lot of criticism of Rob Holding, and in some ways I'd say that's unfair, because he's the one player who's not a first choice player out there. And yes, he struggled, but the rest are our first choice, and they didn't compete either. And to be fair to Rob Holding, he scored a nice goal. I sort of smiled to myself when that went in. Wasn't really reflective of his all-round performance. Us getting a goal wasn't really reflective of our performance, but there you go. I'm doing too many pauses because I'm sort of still trying to digest it all. I think we'll leave it there. I thought we'd lose this game. I always thought we'd lose it. I just thought that we might put ourselves in a position where we had the kind of lead that we could survive it, withstand it. I think with the drop points recently, that's probably not the case. How many games to go? Is it 5? 5 for Arsenal. Got to win them all. And hope for the best. But it's very much out of our hands at this point in time. And if City won it, couldn't argue, could you? I'm not sure they've played better football than Arsenal across the whole season, but I think they are a better team than Arsenal at this point in time. Right, we'll leave it there. Speak soon. Bye-bye.